there in Australia, but we on this side of the water applaud you. I do anyway, and we are looking forward to and probably will keep tabs on that as well. Now, here's some things that I'm concerned with about the redress scheme. A couple of things. First, for the harmed or the person who experienced the trauma, there's an application process, and I think there's one for the companies too. But in that application process, after it's been approved, the individual can no longer, if they join the redress scheme and it's been approved, they can no longer sue the company or any of its affiliates. It's always a yin and a yang, y'all. On the plus side, they don't need as much, it requires less evidence. You know, over here in the States, you have to have a ton of provable stuff, right? And I'm not saying you don't over there, but on the website, they said they don't require as much evidence in order to, ultimately, this is for getting the payout, right? And they don't require much evidence or as much. So ultimately, they're acting as an alternative to court in the monetary phase of the redress scheme. And you know, I don't know if I see anything wrong with that. I don't know what I think even matters, but I don't know that that's a bad thing. Nobody wants to sit in court for years and years. It took us 3 years in probate court after my dad passed to get everything settled. So nobody wants to do that. So I understand that side of it. But I am concerned that suppose it happens again. You know, suppose, you know, who knows? All the supposes you can muster, right? And then you have no recourse against that organization. And when you start talking about the payout, there's a cap. So it's between, I think it's $10,000 to $150,000. So if you go in and you sign up for this redress scheme as the injured party, then after the acknowledgement, after the counseling, your compensation will fall in that range. And it's better than nothing. But what I'm concerned about is it allows the governing body and the Jehovah's Witnesses to, how do I want to say this? It's really not impactful to $1 billion corporation, right? $1 billion corporation, they're paying out $150,000 for X amount of cases. They probably already have that set aside somewhere. And I don't know if that's helpful. Do we want to see them go out of business if they keep operating this way? Yeah. If they change their theology and became more helpful tool for people to live, and they start working with people and helping them improve their mental health and provide all these services, yes, nobody wants nobody to go out of business for doing the right thing. But if you're tearing people down, tearing them apart, and you know you're burning them out, they're suffering from alcoholism, depression, and anxiety and heart disease because of what you're teaching and what you're dispensing, there's no room for that on this planet. If you were doing the right thing, you would have never heard my voice and the millions of others whose voices you hear every day. Every day, whether it's on a podcast or they shooting out a post every day, you wouldn't hear them. And all you had to do, I'm going to say it again, all you had to do was say sorry. So the other side of this is it looks like, because I think the companies also have to, when they join the redress scheme, I think there's a cost for them as well. So it seems like it's a third-party deal, like a brokering deal between the companies and the injured. I don't know. You know, it looks, I think the only concern I have with it is that I don't think it's enough. I think it should be more. But, you know, that's Australia and they can do whatever the hell they want to do. But I think those are the only drawbacks that I can see right now. I'm still learning about it. But I think ultimately the pressure that they are putting on them, I guess it would be the equivalent of their House or Senate, that they're putting on the Jehovah's Witnesses, hopefully it sets a precedent, right? Because I think if that happens in Australia and they get something solid and concrete, then I'm almost certain all the cases that are happening across the U.S., some judge is going to say, you know what? They're right. The apostates are right. This injured person is right. All these injured people are right. And again, when that first one opens, it's going to be an avalanche. And I'm hoping for really one outcome, right? That it changes things and it helps people move on, helps the injured move on, fix themselves, counseling, give them the compensation, help them move forward. And I know it's a long shot, but I hope they change their philosophy. Probably won't, but that would be dope. And then all of you who can't seem to let it go, you can go back. And then I can go back to my life, and all the rest of us, we can go back to our lives. Oh, I almost forgot. It's important to note that for the injured party joining the redress scheme or filling out their application, assuming it's approved, and as they move forward through that process, it does not release the perpetrator from criminal liability. Of course, that's an important aspect of all of that. And so, because I know here in the States, people are really ready to see some sort of legal action against the Watchtower organization. So we'll see what happens, but that option is still open. So, James, what is the point of all of this? Well, my objectives are never singular, kind of like the military, right? When they do something, they have multiple objectives. First, how much more do you need, current Jehovah's Witnesses? How much more information do you need? How long are you going to keep playing around, wasting your life? How long are you going to keep letting, or at least pretending to let this information bounce off your head? Because once you hear it, you can't unhear it and you can't unsee it. How long are you going to do flips? How long are you going to Mary Lou Retton in your head, mental gymnastics? How much more do you need to see? How long are you going to continue lying, raising kids in this poison? And if you see what's happening, and if you're watching what we've been giving you, this is why I call it poison. This is why I call it the doctrine of death, the doctrine of doom. Look at their actions. You can preach all day long, from your Bible, your Watchtower, your Quran, whatever. But if what I see you doing ain't what's in this Bible, something's wrong. And right now, what I see the governing body doing, I ain't never seen Jesus do. You hear me? Is this registering? That's what I'm about. How long is it going to take? And to the people who aren't Jehovah's Witnesses, who listen just for something new to listen to, I hope you getting me. I hope you hearing me. So when you have a discussion with somebody out in the street or on your job or in your class, you can refer back to these links that are in this description and say, well, here's what I know. Word of mouth is always still best. Still best. Ain't no advertising better than word of mouth. And it'd be different if we was up here talking and don't have nothing to show for it. When you talk to Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't have anything to show for what they're trying to explain to you. That's why they don't want to, that's why they inform them not to talk to nobody else. That's why they went from knocking on doors to standing at the carts. From that to, we'll go to the website. Because they're not in position to verify and talk sensibly about what they're telling you. Now they lucked out, and now they're sending letters. Some of the most poorly written. I've seen 3 of them. Oh, forgot to tell you, governing body, I got a couple of those. I'm going to deal with that in a little bit. As soon as I get some time, I'm going to deal with that. And I'm going to keep extracting their books from them. Yeah. So all of you out there who are getting these letters, when you get them and their Watchtower and everything, whatever they're putting in there, keep them. Set them aside. Keep them. Do not throw them away. Give them to your nearest apostate. Give them to us, okay? Don't throw them away. I'm sorry, I got off track. But yeah, how long y'all gonna play? When y'all talk to us, you have nothing to show. Nothing. Our work is so potent now that people at the top of the food chain, at least in Australia, are making moves. The other part of this is to clear my brain out of your poison. Yeah, I was almost done, then I stopped. And I had to start over. That's what this is. I told you already when I came back in that first episode back. I got to finish get this poison up out of here. I've done well with the little bit that's left. And now I'm dumping it all the way out so I can finish being my highest and best self. I want to make sure you dump out all this poison. For those of you who've been listening to me since I first started, listening to me, I should say, what have we been able to positively say about this organization? Even on a small scale. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Don't kid yourself. Serving where the need is great is not about pushing your watchtower down everybody's throats. That's not helpful. Your poison is not helpful to anybody's mind, anybody's mental health. Serving where the need is great. Do you know what that really is? It's going down to these food banks and giving them, helping them out down there, volunteering your time. If you have some extra food, go ahead and dump that off to them. If you got some old clothes, go ahead and dump that off to one of these places. Because I don't know about you, but I'm around every day. I be moving. And these lines to these churches that are in these schools that are giving out food, woo! You hear me? That's how you serve where the need is great. The very churches that you condemn are serving their communities. The governments that you are condemning are serving their communities locally. They're serving. Everybody's serving. Everybody's helping. Everybody's pitching in. Everybody's loving up their fellow man. Everybody's all inclusive except the Jehovah's Witnesses. Most of the companies in Australia are signing up for the redress scheme except Jehovah's Witnesses. Other Christians, other sects, the Catholics, everybody's saying, we made a mistake, we're sorry, except the Jehovah's Witnesses. Slap your neighbor and say, everybody except the Jehovah's Witnesses. EXCEPT. Everybody is doing the right thing and paying their rent for their time here on earth except you. You are the spoiled little kid in the family who refuses to work, who refuses to go to school, and sits around all day complaining while everybody else is out working and carrying their weight. You've created a whole new field of study in the form of religious trauma. I'm sure that you're leading the way. You're the goofball that does something repeatedly dumb and wonder why you're locked up for it. And they're locked up. Right now you're on trial. You've been locked up talking about these are attacks against the devil. No, this is your own stupidity. It's your own guidelines. It's your own policies. It's your own procedures that you took the time to edit to come up with the version that you have now. And it is taking you to court in the States and in Australia and everywhere else. And you're banned in 30 countries. That is your legacy. That is what you are giving or putting out into the universe. And now, my friend, the chickens are coming home to roost. It is time for you to pay up. And you're not going to get away with paying a little bit. You missed that opportunity. You are part of the reason that people can't advance. You, governing body, you and your poison. Your poison is the reason governments are creating national outreach programs, because what you're teaching is so deadly. And who do you think ultimately is going to have to pay for those programs? Us, the taxpayer. So we can't get away from you no matter how much we try. You are always doing something to bring people into your nonsense. And now all the citizens across the country, and you should be upset about this, that at some point, I'm sure, we will have to foot the bill to pay for this doctrine of death. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope what I gave you today was helpful. I hope you learned something new. I hope you didn't really slap your neighbor. I hope you really didn't do it. I was just making fun of the church. Don't slap nobody. I don't want nobody suing me. I was just joking. But I hope you didn't do that. But I do hope that I put something on you to think about. I hope there's something for you to give to someone that you know. I hope there's a link below that will enlighten you and help us get rid of this problem. Again, I ask that you support, and comment. Make sure you comment and hit the like button and and engage with the discussion and enlighten me. I don't know everything. I'm just talking about